नमस्कार. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरि ओम तत्सत्. You might remember, we discuss certain aspects of life management in this series, but actually it is meant to have discussions, particularly the questions that we receive throughout the week. If you have any question, you can write on this forum in English, Bengali, and Hindi, and we will collect all those questions and keep on answering. Previous week, that is in the previous talk, we answered quite a few questions, but a large number of questions remain. I have collected the issues list in 2 pages, and I hope all those who had asked, they are here. So, just to make sure that the session doesn't become boring only because of question answers, we intend to have a small talk on life management. In the first talk, we discussed what is suffering. When we suffer, what exactly happens with us? Today, we will discuss one particular aspect of how to reduce this suffering. There is no one single way. You cannot say that this is one single way to reduce suffering. Here we are discussing these things from a higher perspective. And you may not agree to everything that we say, but you can always give it a try. In the first talk, that is in the previous talk, we discussed about the idea of space. And we discussed how living beings are quite different from inert beings in their concept of space. For living being, everything is space with which it can associate itself with. When it comes to human beings, as you know, we tend to associate ourselves with lots of things. Wealth is there, fame is there, creativity is there, religion is there, idea is there. Everything is that space. A person, if he has some idea, howsoever misplaced, if you try to contradict that person, he gets angry or she gets angry. You might have seen during arguments. You hold on to some idea, you have some idea, and somebody comes and says, no, you are wrong. For example, as you will say in religion, why there is so much of fighting? See, one very important reason is greed. Most bloodbath that has taken place in the world in the name of religion has been because of money and not because of religion. But today, in fact, even today, you will find that a lot of wars includes religious wars or wars fought in the name of religion have some financial motive behind it. But there are also ideologies. People feel that they live with this ideology, and whenever there is a contradiction, if you make a joke out of it, if you mock at it, people react violently. Why? Because they feel that you are intruding on their space. Now, from here, today we will discuss the importance of philosophy of life in our understanding so as to reduce our suffering. So, first, what is life? What is life itself? Life is a continuous struggle to exist. You want to be. You want to exist, and you want to exist eternally. Because you want to exist eternally, there's a continuous struggle. Because the forces that surround you, all kinds of forces, it wants your existence to cease. Just put one seed in soil and see against how many odds it has to struggle to survive. The worms are there, and the heat is there, humidity is there, lack of rain is there, lack of water is there, lack of humidity is there, excess of humidity is there, the birds are there. See, against all those odds, a seed germinates. Now, see, every living being, every living being is ingrained with this idea of survival. I need to survive. And in yoga philosophy, those of you who have been listening to our talks, particularly Raj Yoga, there you will hear this idea of abhinivesh, where every living being has this conscious feeling to survive, a conscious desire to survive. So, in the previous talk, we mentioned how dogs and birds and animals, they create a space around themselves. And living being thus use life itself, their own life, as a platform to create more space for themselves. So, for example, there is a stone. Stone occupies a space and they retains. If you go on adding similar material, as in the case of growth of a crystal, it will keep growing. But living beings are absolutely different in that way. Living beings make use of their own life as platform to grow further, to grow, to create their space. And how to create their space? In the field that they love. Through wealth, through fame, through some idea, etc. And anyone who does not value life, who really does not value life, is mentally sick. So, person who commits suicide basically is mentally sick, because in our life, life is the most important thing. Look wherever you may, whether it be animal of a very ordinary species, lower species, or he might be an exalted being. Whatever is there in this existence for me, for you, it comes through life. You increase your wealth, you grow your wealth through life. You increase your knowledge through life. And you grow in spirituality through life. You grow in happiness through life. And if you want to end your life, that means if you want to commit suicide, there also you have to use your life. Life is so important. See, you may not believe in religion. You may not believe in heaven. You may not believe in mukti. You may not believe in God. But each one of us, starting from the most ignorant aboriginal to the greatest prophet, everyone has a complete faith and total dependence on life. Life is so important. Believe me, anyone who doesn't value life is sick. Just a second. He is mentally sick. He needs medical treatment. There is a beautiful story of sage Vishwamitra. Just a second. Sorry. Once it so happened that Vishwamitra had to face very severe drought. There was no rains, there was no food, not even water to drink. So he was walking through that dry land of India, which has been the eternal problem of India. And he was hungry, he had nothing to eat. Finally, he reached the house of an outcast. This story comes in Mahabharata. These are stories not to be taken literally, not to be questioned. These are supposed to convey some idea, and we are discussing that idea. He entered that outcast's house, and there was dead dog's meat, and he stole that. That outcast objected, "Who are you? You have entered the house of an outcast, and you are stealing dead dog's meat." So anyway, Vishwamitra said he is Vishwamitra, and this outcast was terrified, such a famous sage. So he says, "Oh great sage, how can you do such a thing?" Vishwamitra says, "Look, if I eat this meat, I'll survive. And then I will perform penance, prashchit, and I'll become pure again. But if I die of starvation, of what use will be my life? And who knows if there is any heaven?" This is a very important thing. It's not that Vishwamitra would talk like that, but through that the idea comes. Life is so important. And when there is emergency, you have to save your life, because whatever you want to achieve, you can achieve only through life. If life has to be given up, it has to be given up for some great principle. What great principle? Which is greater than life? And actually, every philosophy is greater than life. And that's why I keep using, and I've used in Carving a Sky. Philosophy of life is greater than life itself. For us, for each one of us, whether you are listening to this talk or you are not listening to this talk, for each one of us, life is precious, life is important. And for each one of us, philosophy of life is far more and much more important than life itself. So when you find soldiers dying on the borders, recently this unfortunate incident took place where um, our soldiers died. Why did they die? Because they had a philosophy of life, and that philosophy of life made life much less important. Not that life became unimportant, life was important. If given the opportunity, they would have saved their life. But if there was no option, they would rather give up their life to hold on to that philosophy of life. So, how do you gain strength in life? How do you reduce your suffering? What is the one single principle by which suffering is reduced? To have a philosophy of life, and then to hold on to that. Let me tell you about a very interesting person. In 1890s, there was a black person. His name was Booker T. Washington. Now they are, of course, called colored. In fact, we are so removed that we don't know what terms they use. It so happened that he somehow studied, and then he felt that all the black people who were there in America, and slavery was coming to an end. So they needed an education where there would be all kinds of education. So he started Tuskegee Institute, and now it is known as University, Tuskegee University. There, one young man, his name was George Washington Groover. He had taken the name from, he was also a black, George Washington, and Groover. He was a black, Negro, colored person. Since his childhood, he was so devoted to plants, that if there was any sick plant in the neighborhood, he would kind of go tend and cure it. And people believed that he could talk to plants. And he also studied somehow, and he had great qualities as far as plant life was concerned. And then Booker T. Washington invited him to join the institute and said, "Look, we don't have money, so I'll give you $10 or $15 per month." And in 1896 or so, he joined that institute. I had read his biography long ago, maybe some 30 years ago, George Washington Groover. And I was so impressed. From that day till his death, that was for around 40, 45 years, he stayed at the institute. Since early morning till late night, he worked in the farms. And agricultural revolution in America was brought by one single man, it was Groover. You might be knowing about peanut butter. It was brought by Groover. And there were lots of things regarding peanuts that Groover introduced. So Groover actually brought revolution in American agricultural market, single-handed. Now there are two very interesting things about him which I loved. One was he never married. And whenever people asked him, why, why don't you get married? He said, I'll never have time for my plants. And what will my wife think when she sees me talking to these plants all day? He never married. He kept himself totally dedicated to plants. And his life was very simple. He didn't have anything, dress and all. And when he died, they found that in his drawers, nearly all the checks that were that were issued by the institute was kept uncleared in his drawer. He neither needed females, nor did he need money. Why? He had a philosophy of life. He loved plants. Similarly, there was that famous story of Alexander meeting a Brahmin. It is guessed that it was Dandi. There was a saint called Dandi. Many of you might have heard of this story, which I keep narrating in the class. So Alexander's one of the commanders came and told Dandi that he is son of God, Alexander. He wants to meet you. Come with us. So this sage laughed. He laughed him away. Said, see, God provides for everything. He gives us the sun, He gives us this light, rains, everything. He's bounteous. He fulfills our supplies. He can't have a son who will keep on murdering people. I am not going to your king. So no, I'll kill you. Says, look, you can kill me. Even then you cannot take me to your king. Because by then my soul will have gone to my God. You cannot take me to your king. I am not going. If he wants to talk to me, let him come here. See, these two quite diverge examples that we brought, Groover and Dandin. One is given the joys of life. Normally people run after these things. Another one, he has given up his fear of death. How? They had a philosophy of life. When you see, recently someone wrote to me, I think through mail. That gentleman or lady, I don't know. I really don't read everything in such detail. The mail read that he or she has some business and has a good life, etc. And then started doing spiritual practices, Jabdyan, things started going wrong with him. And then people who used to be critical of him behind his back, they started coming and abusing in front of him, and his business started making loss. Said, so I stopped doing Javdyan and now things have improved. What should I do? What is your philosophy of life? In one of his many births, Bodhisattva, that is before Lord Buddha became Buddha, there's a story when he was born in a Vaishya family. And he used to feed the saints and sages and Brahmins every day. And once Indra wanted to test him, so he came as a Brahmin asking for meals. And when the couple went ahead, the gods created a living hell, saying, if you come one step further, you will go to the living hell. And the Bodhisattva said, I may go to the hell, but I will not give up my way of life. This way of life comes from philosophy of life. Any one of us who has some problem, any problem in life, if you look closely within, you'll see that actually we don't have any philosophy of life. Sometimes it comes to us as ideal. Sometimes, like Swamiji also used to say, you should have an ideal. It's not only ideal, it has to be a way of life. Your entire life you have to live for that. And you should be ready to die for that. When the soldiers die on front, they're not mentally sick. If they suffer wounds, if they lose limbs, they don't lose because they want to. No, never. They are brave people. But they are not mentally sick. They live with the philosophy that they are going to protect the motherland. They die with the philosophy that they are going to die for the motherland. If they get wounded, they say, fine. If I have to be wounded, I will be wounded for my motherland. There is to be a philosophy of life. You say that I want to earn wealth. See, earning wealth cannot be a philosophy of life. Because simply by earning wealth, supposing you say that you want to earn wealth. Now God comes and says that here is 100 crore rupees. For example, there was a Midas. He got that curse or he got that boon. Whatever he touches will become gold. And then he touched his daughter and she also turned into gold. What will you do with that? Gold cannot be an ideal. We make use of gold to get something else. So earning wealth cannot be the way of life. It cannot, it is just a means to go somewhere. If you really want to come out of your suffering, if you really want to be strong, if you really want to create space in life, one of the first things that you need to do is have a philosophy of life. While discussing Gita, we had mentioned how when Arjuna was in total disarray, he was mentally disturbed before the Mahabharata war. Sri Krishna placed before him three philosophies of life. You are born and you die. So why give up your way of life that is of a warrior? Or you are a transmigrating soul that keeps getting born again and again. So if you die, how does it matter? Why do you want to give up your way of life? That is, how does birth and death matter to you? And if you think of yourself as Atman, which is infinite, ever present, then there is no birth, no death. Why bother? Don't give up your way of life. Why we suffer? Because we don't have any philosophy of life. Why we suffer? Because we don't have a way of life. Fix your mind on something. Have conviction regarding certain things. I live for this. We will be talking more and more of this in our subsequent talks. But then you need to work out. Read books, consult seniors, the learned ones. Think. Have a clear philosophy of life, have a clear way of life, and hold on to that. Then you will see that the sufferings which mattered a lot earlier, they will lose their sting and your suffering will reduce. So, with this, we end today's talk. And now we go back to the questions for which actually we had made this session. And the previous day, those of you who want to write some questions, you can write here, you'll note down. And if someday we find that questions have stopped coming, we will stop this series of talks. Or maybe we'll stop after talking whatever we have been talking. Now, there was Yashwant Karketta, and he said, what is the difference between Indriya and Anga? Actually, Yashwant, if you are interested in knowing about it, you can listen to our Raj Yoga talks. If you understand Bengali, you can listen to Raj Yoga talks. There is that mind, senses, and organs. Otherwise, there is one English. In English also, there is one talk on Raj Yoga. You can listen to that. Essentially, this hand that I have, this is an organ. This eye, it's an organ. When eye receives an impulse, the signal is carried by the optic nerves and it goes to the brain. And there are brain centers. That is Indriya. Indriya actually, when we talk of, actually in English, they call organs, sense organs. But Sanskrit, particularly yoga, which is a very advanced thing, it clearly distinguishes between the external organ, which is of no value, because this organ may go away, or you may extend it by adding something. But the real thing which is inside, that will not go away. And even after death, Indriya remains, but body goes away, and with that, Anga, the limbs go away. So, Anga, translated loosely in English, is limb. Indriya is senses, which is somewhere in the brain. Now, then there is Pratyush Mahapatra. He asked, if soul is potentially divine, then what is concept of ghost? Or can we consider ghost is nothing but a form of soul? See, these are slightly... One thing I'll request, if you are truly sincere about asking questions, genuinely you are interested in asking questions, please open to our playlists in the YouTube and listen to any one series of talks. We have covered our talks in Hindi, in Bengali, and in English. Any one series of talks. So those of you who can understand English, you can listen to Hinduism series of talks. Those of you who understand Bengali, of course in Bengali we have huge number of talks. You will see most of your questions are answered. And you will see that lots of questions that you ask, they're not very serious. In fact, they're pretty childish. And we feel sad. See, for example, like Sarthak Sarkar asks just now, Maharaj, Maud Moha Matsarjo Take Mukti Rupai. Matsari is jealousy. Moha is delusion. See, if I knew something simple, I also would have come out of it. Do you think even the great monks are free of this? Pop culture has taken up fast food, fast life, fast cars. Everything is fast, fast, fast. There's a computer and there's a keyboard and there's a mouse. You click the mouse and there's a blip of cursor, and you want everything through that. You take up jobs through that, you give up jobs through that, you marry someone through that, and you divorce someone through that. Life is not, it doesn't run like that, dear Sarthak. It's a lifelong struggle. Not lifelong. It takes many lives to overcome these things. There is no shortcut. And anyone who is teaching you a shortcut, know that he's fooling you. So, anyway, coming to this ghost and soul, please go through our talks. Now, our channel is pretty serious. It is not meant for light minded people, light hearted people. Only if you can be serious about things, you will be able to hold on to this series of talks. So we'll expect that if you ask questions, you have studied something. One needs some preparation. When you ask questions, you need to have some knowledge. If you don't have any knowledge, you just can't jump into it. But anyway, we'll answer this. The Vedantic perception, which is the ultimate Hindu perception, is that the pure consciousness, which is infinite, for some reason which we don't know and which we are not going to discuss here, those of you who are interested can listen to any of our talks which describe creation. So, for some reason, it creates mind and then it identifies itself with mind. And this identification is at two levels, cosmic and individual. The individual identification with mind, that is pure consciousness, identifies with mind, and then it, as if it keeps on now moving. This is what is known as soul. This is not Atman. There is a difference between Atman and soul. Atman never undergoes any change. Atman is infinite, so it has no place to go. But that Atman, when it identifies with mind, it seems to be moving. It's something like sun is in the sky, so huge, so big, and suddenly there is cloud. And when the cloud moves, and supposing there is a hole in that cloud, you feel as if the sun is moving. So it's something like that. Now, when it takes up certain kinds of material, that soul is said to have some kind of body. So when it takes up the material from this earth, we call it human body. When it takes up material from the heaven, they are known as gods, such souls. And when it takes up materials from lower worlds, spirit world, it is known as ghost. So it's the same soul. When it's in human body, that is taking up material from this world, it's known as human. And when it's in heavenly world, it takes up more divine material, it's known as God. Otherwise, it's known as ghost. Similarly, animals, they have certain kind of organs and certain kind of body. So this is the concept that the scriptures say. Now, what is the truth? I can't say because I have not experienced. I'm not an experienced person. And when we read Sri Ramakrishna and Swamiji, they also did not talk much about it. These are immaterial things. These are not really that important. Now, Abhi Banerjee, he asks, jealousy from other persons is to be confronted. That's a beautiful question. Now, let me tell you, I'm a very ordinary person. Actually, I'm a very ordinary person. Now, whenever I find someone who is jealous of me, I really feel very happy. I truly, believe me, I feel very happy. And that means that I'm doing something good. If nobody is jealous of you, then know that you are a worthless person. If you do something good, if you're really very good at certain things, people will be jealous of you. And when people are jealous of you, it is known as crab mentality. Crab mentality means that there's a joke about it. That if say 100 crabs are put in a crate, you don't have to seal its top. It's a joke. I don't know how true it is. Says the moment a crab tries to come out, other crabs will pull its back. Pull it back. I don't let the crab go out. Sometimes it is also known as Indian crab mentality. Indian crab mentality. It won't let you go out. Now, when you're doing something good, many people will want to pull you down. Then people are trying to pull you down. When you hear whispers about you, it only means that you are doing good things, you are right things. And then you must decide to do much better things so that more people are jealous of you. Because jealous people will be jealous. But when you do good things, many people will be benefited. So don't worry about it, Mr. Abhi Banerjee. Go ahead, make hundreds and thousands jealous of you. I will be your great supporter. Come and say, Swamiji, you told me, and now I have done such great achievements that thousands are jealous of me. I will congratulate you, and I promise I'll give you at least one book of mine, signing and presenting to you because you have done something big. Now, Sarthak Sarkar, I think you are a very chanchal person. Many times we have said, listen to our talks, and we have told ishrkm@gmail.com. You are a very non-serious person. Learn to be serious. Increase the inner worth of your mind. And sorry, I'm not able to read all these mails. I'll take up later. Now see, again Sutapa Chakravarti asks, মেয়েরা বেদ রচনা করতে পারে কিন্তু চণ্ডী পাঠ করতে দেওয়া হয় না। আরে কে আপনাকে চণ্ডী পাঠ করতে দেওয়া হয় না? how can I be responsible for it? I am telling you a philosophy. Nowhere it says that মেয়েরা চণ্ডী পাঠ করতে পারে না। আমরা আমাদের বাড়িতে দেখেছি চণ্ডী পাঠ করতে মেয়েদের। আপনারা কেমন বাড়িতে আছেন, কি বাড়িতে আছেন, কি বলবো? স্বামীজি সেই জন্য শিক্ষা চেয়েছিলেন। শিক্ষা কি হবে? শিক্ষা দিয়ে কুসংস্কারগুলো ভাঙবে। কুসংস্কার 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 হিন্দুদের নাশ করে রেখেছে। আজকে যে আসে দুটো লাথি মেরে বেরিয়ে যায়। শুধু কুসংস্কার। আপনাকে চণ্ডী পাঠ পড়তে দেন, আপনাকে গঙ্গাজল খেতে দেন, আপনাকে গায়ত্রী বন্ধ করুন, সব যা করার সব করুন। করুন ধর্মকাজ যত পারেন করতে। যত ধর্মকাজ করতে পারেন তত করুন। কেউ যদি বলে আমার নাম করে বলবেন, ইনি বলেছেন, যা গালাগাল দেওয়ার আমার নামে দিক। ধর্মটাকে একটা মানে হাসি ঠাট্টার পাত্র বানিয়ে রেখেছেন। সারা বিশ্ব হাসছে আমাদের উপরে। Now, Yogesh Parashar, he has read some of my books and says, I lack the inner drive to follow them. And how do I develop the will for the same? There are highs and lows, no consistency. I hope, Yogesh Parashar, you are listening to this. Now, see, high and lows, these are part of life. Everyone goes through it. In fact, there's a very interesting saying that if everything is going smooth in your spiritual life, there is something seriously wrong with your spiritual life. In spiritual life, in your jap dhyan, in your spiritual growth, things cannot be smooth, because if it is smooth, then you are not leading a spiritual life. Life goes like that. But interestingly, let me tell you a very interesting thing, Yogesh Parashar, maybe not really directly related to this question. Once I had read a very interesting story. One person had purchased a parrot, and somehow that parrot was very sick. It was kind of dying. And somehow that person had fallen in love with the parrot. So he went to the veterinary and described the condition and got some medicines and gave those medicines to parrot, but parrot was not taking anything. So he got more medicines and more parrot was not taking, and it was falling ill every day. Finally, one day, when parrot was about to die, it died actually. Just before dying, it uttered a few words to its owner. Didn't anyone tell you to get me some chana, some grams, something to eat? Parrot was getting nothing to eat. He was being fed only with medicines. It's a very interesting story. That person was such a fool. It was doing everything for the parrot, but not giving food. Somehow he did not know that the parrot do not eat lots of things, but it eats certain things, some seeds, particularly grams and all. And the parrot died. When I look at all these personality development talks going around, how to improve your concentration, how to stay focused in crisis, I feel that is the parrots being given huge talk of medicine, but not the seeds. The actual food is missing, and you are being provided with tons and tons of medicines. And you keep complaining that, see, I'm taking so much medicine. Like if you go to Delhi, I personally knew some ladies in Delhi who would say, अजी मैंने तो आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग भी कीजी, मैंने रेकी भी कीजी, मैं तो इसकी भी इसका भी कैंप अटेंड किया, उसका भी कैंप, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा। अरे कुछ भी होगा कहाँ से? The parrot is being given all the medicines, but is not being given the seeds to eat. Start doing Panch Mahayagya. I made it a principle to tell Panch Mahayagya. Make sure to meditate and do some mantra, whatever mantra it be, Gayatri mantra or the mantra that you got from Guru. If there is nothing, you just get it for the present from internet and do Gayatri mantra daily, at least for half an hour, daily without fail. Go to some temples daily. Remember with reverence your ancestors. Serve the humanity. We have talked about Panchmahayagya many times, so I'm telling in short. And feed the poor, feed stray animals. Do it daily. If you say you cannot do it, then at least do not come saying that you do not have strength for this and you do not have strength for this. Strength requires time to build. Those who join army, they don't become fighters in a day. Those who go to learn kung fu, karate, etc., they don't become masters in a day. Kathopanishad beautifully says, Yogo hi pravavapyo. Yoga. It rises and falls. That means the high state of your mind sometimes stays high, sometimes it goes low. It goes like that. Then there is Rajdeep Vishwas says, Mrityur pare ki Shriti sathe thake memory. No, memory does not stay after death. Memory goes away, but the certain impressions, সংস্কার এটাকে বলা হয়। যেমন আপনি হয়তো খুব ভায়োলেন্ট পারসন, অনেকের সঙ্গে মারামারি করেছেন, কার কার সঙ্গে মারামারি করলেন এটা মনে থাকবে না, কিন্তু আপনার ভেতরে যে টেন্ডেন্সি অফ ভায়োলেন্স এটা থাকবে, মৃত্যুর পরে এটা থাকে, শাস্ত্র এটা বলে। তো আমার তো জানা নেই, শাস্ত্রে আছে বলে আমরা এটা মানি। ইনফ্যাক্ট আমি আমার যে নতুন বই ক্রতু, it will come out after some time, Macmillan is publishing. It is about someone whose memory stays intact, and from the Vedic times till date his memory is intact. So it's a very fascinating story. Then there is Ranjan Manna. He says positive energy আমাদের evolve করে, negative energy কে আমাদের lower hierarchy তে, भैया, there is nothing called positive energy and negative energy. There is nothing called positive emotion and negative emotion. এগুলো প্রেজেন্ট টাইমসের কিছু বাবাজি, কিছু গুরু, হ্যাঁ, অ্যান্ড বলে অন্ধে নেই নিয়মানা যথা আন্ধা, অন্ধরা অন্ধদের যখন পথ দেখায়, ঠিক এই জিনিসটা হচ্ছে এনার্জি ইজ এনার্জি, ইমোশন ইজ ইমোশন. দের ইজ নাথিং কল্ড পজিটিভ এনার্জি, দের ইজ নাথিং কল্ড নেগেটিভ এনার্জি, দের ইজ নাথিং কল্ড পজিটিভ emotion, there is nothing called negative emotion. In the next talk, we will discuss inclusiveness, exclusiveness. Anything that makes you small is bad. Anything that expands you is good. In front of you, anyone who helps you expand is good. And anyone whose presence makes you squeezed is bad. In that sense, it is positive, negative. But energy is energy. Energy is neutral. Atom bomb, it does not distinguish between who created atom bomb and on whom it is thrown. Energy is energy. And this Nawaz Vivek, by any chance, Nawaz Vivek, are you there? Anyway, he asks, Maharaj, কিভাবে স্মৃতি শক্তি বাড়াতে পারি? How to increase memory power? This is a very interesting question. Those of you who are interested, স্মৃতি কিভাবে বাড়ানো যায়? In Indian traditions, we have heard of people যাদের ধ্রুবা স্মৃতি or Shrutidhar, whatever they hear, they remember. They're yogic people. Now, how that power comes to them, we don't know. But we are talking at our level. Now, if it is about studying, say, পড়ি মনে থাকে না, I study but I don't remember. The only way to remember for such people is to write down whatever you read. আপনাদের বাড়িতে যে বাচ্চারা আছে যারা পড়াশোনা করেন, তাদেরকে বলবেন, যদি মনে না রাখতে পারে, যা পড়লে তুমি কি বুঝলে, you write down in simple sentences. Then go back and see what you read and what you have written are the same. If not, write again, rewrite. দিয়ে ধীরে ধীরে memory বাড়ে. But commonly, this is known as mnemonic techniques. Memory কিভাবে বাড়ানো যায়? See, memory increases through practice. Let me tell you, this is a very interesting story about Houdini. Houdini was a great magician, great performer of his time. And he had his son. Unfortunately, his son died during one of the performance because of some unfair trick that somebody had played. So Houdini, he was a very loving person, very nice person. And after the death of his son, he stopped this business of performance. What he did, he trained his son to remember everything. It's a very interesting story. You can try it. Okay, Korto, Houdini, you to take his son. His son was around 6 or 7 years old at that time. You take him to some shop, allow him to see for a moment, just one look. You take him out, and then you would ask, okay, now write down the things that you remember. So initially, that kid, he could recount 5 or 6 items. But this practice was done every day. And a time came when this kid could rattle off 40, 45 items just by looking once at the shop. So then there is a very, very interesting incident. Once one gentleman came and to meet Houdini, and this young boy was playing, and gentleman asks, "Tell me what is there in my pocket." So that young boy, he came by his side, and when his father called, he came to his father, and the father asks, "So see, this gentleman wants to know what is there in his pocket. Can you tell?" Houdini used to present these things as magic, but there was no magic involved in it. It was all game of memory. He said, "I think I can tell." The boy was hardly 7 or 8 years old. He said, he has a silk handkerchief in his pocket. There are so many coins in his pocket, and there's a letter, and it is a love letter, things like that. See, in the moment that he was passing the gentleman, he just took out things from his pocket, had one look, kept it, and he could narrate. Normally, people would think that it was magical. Now, when we think of Swamiji and others, or we can let out Swamiji, sometimes, when we think of geniuses, Swamiji describes that genius is that capability where a person can acquire knowledge in much shorter period than a normal person would need. So lots of things that appear to us magical, unusual, these are mere practices which have been done over lives. Those sanskaras we carry, and that's how we have become experts. So say there is a great cricketer and there is a great football player. They are great. Why? Because they have practiced it throughout their life. So then there is Shamindra Adhikari. He asks, can we get freedom with always active work, no passive work? I don't know exactly what Samindra meant by active work, passive work. See, think of three things. There is an uncontrolled horse running wildly. You cannot do anything with that horse because it is wild. Then there is a dead horse which is lying there. You can do nothing out of it. And there is a third horse which can run as fast as you want and can also stand still as you want. This is the horse that can take you anywhere. The first one is known as Rajogun, activity. The second one is passivity, inertness, Tamogun. These two can never do anything good to a person. The third one, Sattvagun, where it stays calm and controlled, and yet it has all the power. We have to tame our mind to that level where it has all the potential, all the power, and yet it is under control. So neither activity helps Shamindra, nor passivity helps. It is the intense power that can be held tightly that actually leads you to anything good in life, including freedom. Then there is Aparna Roy, who says, আমাকে কেউ ভুল বুঝলে সত্যটা আসলে কি সেটা প্রমাণ করার ইচ্ছা চলে যায়। কত ছোট জগতে আপনারা থাকেন অপর্ণা। আপনাকে ভুল বুঝলো, আপনাকে ঠিক বুঝলো, how does it matter? আমাদের প্রাইম মিনিস্টার আছেন, তাকে কে ঠিক বুঝলো কে ভুল বুঝলো, does it matter? We live in such small world of our own. এমন ছোট্ট জীবনে আমরা আছি, যে ছোট ছোট জিনিস আমাদের কাছে বিরাট বড় মনে হয়। গ্রো একটা ভালো কিছু করুন। আপনার শক্তি সবারই সামনে বেরিয়ে আসুক, তারপরে এসব কথা বলবেন। কি ছোট ছোট কথাগুলো বলেন। Sudeep Purkayat, he says, পড়াশোনায় কিভাবে মনোসংযোগ বাড়ানো যায়, how to focus on studies. I told a little while ago, write down whatever you read, write down, I explained. Please listen to that portion, idea will be clear. Then there is Amiyade who asks, নামে রুচি না হবার উত্তরে বললেন তার কৃপা, আবার তার কৃপা পেতে নাম গুণ গান না করার কথা বললেন। একটু বিস্তার করে দয়া করবেন অমিয় দে। আপনি আগে কিছু একটা করতে শুরু করুন তো। আপনি জোর করে একটু ঠাকুরের নাম নিতে শুরু করুন যদি চান। পড়াশোনা করতে চান, জোর করে পড়াশোনা করুন, ধীরে ধীরে নিজেই পরিষ্কার হয়ে যাবে। এত প্রশ্ন করার আগে এক পা নিন না, এক পা এগোন, স্টার্ট ডুইং সামথিং। See, once you start doing something, anything, be it studying, be it playing, be it doing work, be it meditating, be it taking Thakur's name, take. Slowly things will clear up on its own. Believe me, don't take it otherwise. Forgive me. Most questions that you ask, it shows your shallowness. Shows you have not done anything in life. If you do anything in life, you won't have all these questions. নাম নিতে শুরু করবেন তবে না বুঝতে পারবেন ঈশ্বরের কৃপা আছে কি নেই। একদিন না পারুন, দুদিন করুন, দুদিন না পারুন 10 দিন করুন, 10 দিন না পার 10 দিনেও যদি না হয় 1 বছর করুন, তাতেও না হয় 10 বছর করুন, তারপরে বলবেন ঈশ্বরের কৃপা নেই। ঠাকুর বলছেন কুয়ো খুঁড়তে গেল, একটা জায়গায় খুঁড়লো, একজন বললো এখানে হবে না, আরেক জায়গায় খুঁড়তে যায়। ফার্স্ট ডু সামথিং, থিংস উইল বিকাম ক্লিয়ার। So, mid my life, can one who is not initiated take any mantra for jap meditation? See, we believe in Guru Parampara. Guru Parampara means that the mantra that comes, it must be a Siddha mantra. So, we believe that the power of word comes only when it comes from Guru. But till you don't get Guru, what will you do? You can't sit idle. You can take some name. It does not matter. But then you cannot be your own Guru. No, you cannot. Till you don't get a Guru, till you don't go for a Guru. Now then your next question will be how to choose a Guru. Go get anyone. Don't worry. You go get any Guru and Lord will do everything. After that, Lord will take care of that. Sandeep Karmakar is very favorite student of our course. He says, how can one overcome fear? I have not overcome fear. I have got 1,000 fears. Unless you realize God, unless you become one with Atman, no one can overcome fear. But you can overcome some fears. Some fears. How? By increasing your strength. Panacea, the ultimate medicine for all the ills of the society, all the ills within you, is strength. Knowledge is strength. Knowledge is strength. Character is strength. When you have knowledge, when you have character, everything else follows. Money and fame, they also provide strength, but they belong at much lower level. Abhi Banerjee, how to handle egoistic people? Now see, I personally am a total failure in handling egoistic people. And my life is such, I had to face lots of egoistic people in my life. And I'm myself such egoistic that I bear such people for a while. And then suddenly something comes out of my mouth and relationship goes sour. Now, it's not good to discuss beyond this. But then see, thing is, as you grow mentally, you learn to tolerate. When you don't tolerate, basically it means that you have not grown up. You're still immature. As you mature, you learn to tolerate. As you tolerate, you learn how to ego. Those who are highly egotistic, basically they are like child. They are like children. They are kids who have not grown up. How do you handle kids? By pampering them a bit. How do you handle egotistic people? By pampering them a bit. There is no other way. Suman goes, how can overcome fear in a systematic way, as he said. See, there is no shortcut to these things. You need to grow in strength. And there is no systematic way to overcome fear. As you grow in strength, so the fear goes away. And sometimes there are psychological fears. For that, you need to consult some counselor. If you have imaginary fears, Durva Pramanik, how can get a guru? Is it luck by chance? There are so many gurus are there on television and internet. Just catch hold of somebody and go. Now, what is there about chance and this and that? Why do you want to judge your guru? We are always trying to judge others. We are always trying to examine others. How unfair. We are judging Swami Vivekananda. We are judging Gandhi ji. We are judging Nehru ji. How unfortunate. We are such ordinary people, such small people. Our knowledge is so limited, our strength is so limited, and yet we are trying to judge people. It is not good for us. Go get any guru. Take a mantra, move ahead. Amit, how to control one's anger? See, these things, basically anger and fear, these things show lack of strength. Lack of strength. Everything is lack of strength. If you have real strength, see, I often come across people who keeps on seeing Thakur and Ma, and they find their Kundalini is in Agya Chakra and Vishuddha Chakra and crazy people. Why? Because when God gives you realization, He also gives you the strength to keep mum about it. When our soldiers are trained in martial arts, when they are trained in weaponry, they are also trained not to use it. Like you might have seen in Leh, when there was this problem between Chinese and Indian soldiers. In spite of their mates dying, and in spite of their having weapons, they did not open fire. They controlled. Why? Because they have strength. And these criminals, they take out their weapons and start fighting at any moment because they don't have strength. You have anger, you have fear because you don't have strength. Have strength and you will control them. I think, our time is up. So we covered lots of questions which we had the previous day, and I'll collect from the questions that are here, and I hope you join us next week and we will cover the remaining questions. Thank you so much. Here we end. Thank you.